Hi, my name is Becky and welcome to another Ashford driving test route video. Let's get started. Here is a quick disclaimer, these routes are for education purposes only. They are not the official test routes of Ashford. Your driving test route can change at any time due to many factors. Some quick resources to help you with your learning journey. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel for more test route and educational videos to help you with your learning journey, especially if you're learning with mum and dad. Check out our podcast show, The Swan and Soda Show, two goofy driving instructors in the Midlands sharing their hints and tips to learning drivers. We have an online theory training course, you can check us out at LPod Theory Training. And of course we have a learner blog. Please do like and share this video. Some practice test tips for you to help prepare you for your driving test. If you're learning with a driving instructor, obviously some of the things that you'll be doing will be on the left hand side, such as mock driving tests, but of course you can use lots of other resources, especially nowadays online. There's lots of theory books, lots of apps, TikTok, podcast shows, and of course our videos. If you intend to have private practice with a parent or a loved one, make sure you follow the tips on the right hand side. If you want even more help with your private practice, please visit www.drivingtestroots.com and you can download these test routes to your sat-nav when learning with mum and dad. These are especially good for private practice with parents. Fact file for Ashford Driving Test Centre. Ashford Driving Test Centre has a 44% pass rate. It's slightly below national average, which is 45.9%. The Driving Test Centre address is on the ground floor of the Civic Centre on Tannery Lane in Ashford, Kent. The postcode is TN23 1PL and your nearest theory test centre is in New Romney, St Mary's Village Hall, TN29 0SW. And some quick reminders just before you take your driving test. Please make sure you have your photo driving licence with you, otherwise you will not be able to sit your driving exam. Make sure you have a roadworthy car, including tyres, lights, brake lights and windscreen wipers. Please do not arrive any later than 5 minutes before your test. Reverse park your car into one of the bays at the test centre, of course if your test centre does have a bay. Decide whether you want your company driver with you. If you're taking the test in your own car, make sure your car has valid learner driver insurance and a spare internal mirror for the examiner to use. Make sure you also have valid L plates on the front and back of your vehicle, and it is a good idea to take a spare as well. Take a deep breath and go on, pass your driving test. And we are off from the Ashford Driving Test Centre. So when it comes to your driving test day, it's really important to focus on the road ahead and to observe all the road signs and of course the speed limits. So what is the speed limit of this road? Please leave your comments below this video. It's not about us telling you everything. We want you to be able to pick out all the information from the road signs and of course the local area. So we're coming up to our first junction near the test centre and we are turning left. Now we are waiting to give way to traffic from our right hand side. So of course observations at T-Junctions are very important to make sure that you can look up and down the road and not pull out on any vehicles at all. Now as you can see from this example, the learner's a little bit short of the give way markers themselves, but it's something that you can work on when you're obviously on your driving lessons with your instructor. Road positioning is very important, not particularly minor, but there's still areas of improvement. Okay, so what can you see along here? There's a couple of no entries on the left hand side. We are turning right at the next junction, the traffic light control junction. How much space do you give the car ahead of us? Have you heard of a saying called tyres to tarmac? This means that you can see enough of the road beneath the tyres of the car in front. So if you can, then you're far enough back. If you're unable to see the tarmac, then you are too close. Why is that a problem? Please leave your comments below this video. So we just got a green light, so we are going to be turning at this traffic light control junction. Again, when you have a green light, please still scan the road. don't ever just trust that it's safe to go. There could be lots of people or vehicles coming towards you on their red. And this is where a lot of accidents can happen when you're out on the road. So we are coming into a new speed zone area, quite a high populated road coming into the town itself. Of course, it's got red herringbone brick, so it's quite recognisable. Now, one thing with 20 zones, sometimes they are repeated, like the 40s and 50s, but sometimes they're not. So it's really important to make sure that you see the sign at the earliest possibility. And as you can see, there are no other 20 limits along this particular road. So usually on the lampposts or standalone road signs. Okay, so there's a crossing coming up here. Obviously the lights don't seem to be working, but they look like they were going to step out, so we were right to give way to the pedestrians. Please, please, please wait for their feet to be back on the pavement. This could be a penalty against you if you proceed at any pedestrian crossing too early. That is response to other road users or pedestrian crossings themselves. Okay, lots of things to look at along this particular road. Of course, you've got the trees, which is not that exciting. You've got lots of buildings, lots of crossings, and of course, other road users when we come across them. So it's a makeshift roundabout, a bit of a funny roundabout in Ashford. But regardless of that, we're turning right, and of course, make sure that you signal appropriately. Now, on these test routes, they won't always be perfect. Remember, these are learner drivers doing these routes. So if you do spot any problems, we would really like you to be able to leave a message below this video and to see what you can pick up and what you don't pick up. I'm not going to mention everything. We're coming out of a 20 zone. Did you see that 30 zone just there? So we're coming onto a dual carriageway, a built-up version dual carriageway. So we're in a 30 zone. Yes, you get 30 limit dual carriageways. It's a dual carriageway because there's a bit of land in the middle separating the two lanes. So approaching a roundabout now. We're still in the left lane, so we can only keep left or go ahead at the roundabout. Did you spot a mistake there? If you did, please leave a message below in the description of the video. So when you're coming up to traffic lights, it's very important not to go over the solid white line. So a good tip is to make sure that you're not too far forward. So let the solid white line just go out of view, and then you should be near the white line, not overhanging. Okay, so are we still in a 30 zone? Or has the road speed increased or decreased? Let us know your thoughts. Do you recognise this area? Have you been up and down this road with your driving instructor? What things happened to you? Have you got any stories to share with us? Please leave any information or stories in the description below this video. Again, when you're on a driving test, it's all about the road ahead. You've got to be very present. You've got to be very mindful of what you're doing, what your intentions are. You need to know where you're going nice and early. So obviously we're positioned right, so we will be taking a right turn on the roundabout. So what road position is important to hold while we're on the actual roundabout itself? And what do we need to do as we come off the roundabout? What's your routine? What have you been taught, and why is that important? So coming into a new speed limit zone now, so as you can see, the 40 limit was just there off the roundabout. A 40 is one of the speed limits that will be increased. It's a non-default speed limit. So of course the learner's just done a lane change. So again, what's the routine for changing lanes? One of the biggest things that you do need to consider is your blind spots. What is your blind spot? Why is that important? So all of these things should be going through your mind. And now of course you can see in the distance the white road sign. That is clearly displaying a roundabout. So this would allow us to go to the right of the roundabout. So there's another lane saying which lanes to get into for certain destinations. The learner wasn't sure there, so she went from the middle to the right. So on this particular roundabout, you would use the far right lane for the last exit on the roundabout. So we're going past the first exit there, and with this lane the arrows still say to the right. So a good rule of thumb with roundabouts is if you are turning right, then use the right hand lane. The left lane on this particular roundabout on the approach has access to exit 1 and 2, the middle lane is exit 3, and the far right lane is exit 4. If you look at the markings on the left of the lane, you can see how it feeds you back over to the left, and then continuing to take the left turn where appropriate. So we can see the repeat sign on the left hand lamppost. It's very important to make sure that we keep an eye on the speed limits, because that's one of the easiest fails on a driving test, responding to the laws. And remember, the examiner is ensuring that you're being legal with your response. So it's all about decisions and making correct decisions as and when you're provided information. So when you become more of an experienced learner driver, you should be able to absorb all of the road markings and the signs, and of course looking at other people as well. So of course this particular test route is heading into Sainsbury's for one of the bay parks. Now one thing that we do need to mention, the examiners can take you to any car park. We've just chosen Sainsbury's on this particular route just to kind of demonstrate, you know, entering a car park, doing a forward bay, and then obviously exiting at the same time. Quite a large car park, this one. What speed should you keep to in a car park? One of the most common questions that I get, should I signal in a car park? If somebody would benefit from your signal, then signal. If you're turning left or right, then again, signal. It doesn't hurt informing people that you're about to park or turn. And again, you should only be really in first gear. You shouldn't be in too high a speed or gear in a car park. 5 miles an hour, most car parks are. So you can see that the learner had a little shunt there, but you can see that we're in the bay using the grid lines of the bay in front. One little driving test tip, don't pull forward too much. Don't go over the front solid white line. It's got to be in your bay, and make sure that when you do reverse, you have effective observations all the way around the vehicle. Okay, so we're going to make our way towards the exit now. So you've got to give way. So still, like if you're turning right or left, do signal right accordingly. Or left if you're going left in this case. And also, you know, car parks do have crossings and CCTV as well. So things like fidgeting with your stereo, you know, on the move, you shouldn't do any of this kind of stuff, because you could actually get penalised. If you listen to our podcast show, you will hear one of our interviews from our learner drivers who actually lost their driving licence because CCTV footage actually caught them out. Okay, so for details of the show, please look at the links below this video. It's called The Swan and Surrey Show on iTunes. And again, we are going to follow the road towards the exit. Now, there's obviously a garage on the left, just keeping an eye on the car to the left of us. Now, if we're in the left only lane, we can't take any other angle. We need to take that turn. Okay, so when we get the green traffic light, we're going to obviously take the left turn because that's the lane that we're in. And we join the carriageway. What type of road is this? Is it single or dual? Please leave your answers below this video. When would you ever use the right hand lane on a dual carriageway? Let us know. What's the speed limit of this road? So Ashford does have lots of traffic light controlled junctions. We have another one right now. So we are going to obviously turn left. Now you do need to be careful with traffic lights. Did you see the left only filter arrow? And the right hand lane had a red light, so make sure that you always hunt out the right traffic light so that you don't get caught out. So what do we have up ahead? We have some cycle lanes. Cars emerging from the left hand side there. Quite a major road in Ashford. And the cycle lanes are quite nice on this particular road because they are red, they're quite visible, so there's not really an excuse to kind of miss those. Again, keeping our distance when we're following other vehicles with the whole tyre to tarmac rule. Each driving test is about 35 to 40 minutes. You can expect to be around 40 minutes for the whole thing. Sometimes you'll be back a bit quicker and sometimes you'll be back a bit later. It really does depend on the route that you get, the traffic on that route and your ability to get through the route. Please be advised that there is no cut-off point. You're still being marked 50 minutes in or 30 minutes in. You don't stop trying until you get back out to the test centre with your engine off. So we are parking up at a safe location on the left hand side and we are about to pull off, making sure that there's no vehicles passing or cyclists. So what's your routine when you pull off from the side of the road? They can do this manoeuvre quite a lot of times. Again, this is for demonstration purposes only, for people to get familiar with the area. And if you recognise this area, you know what kind of routes that you could potentially get. Now, it's not always about knowing the exact test routes, but it is about getting familiar with the kind of obstacles and types of junctions that you could be coming across. So we've already had a few kind of laney roundabouts, some cycle lanes and traffic lights. So this particular route, you know, it's a bit of everything really, a bit of dual carriageway as well. So one of the prerequisites that the examiner will ask you to do is find a safe place on the left. So in residential areas, do avoid your driveways. Do not park on double yellows or single yellows if it's out the timings. And of course, make sure that you signal and check your mirrors appropriately. Obviously mirrors first and then signal, because we're always making sure it's safe to stop. And then if we do stop, we give ourselves the green light to stop. So as you can see up ahead, there's a few parked cars on the left. What's some of the hazards that you can get with parked cars? Car pulling in on the right. What mirrors do you need to check when you weave in and out of the parked cars? Again, under the mirror section on the driving test, mirrors before changing direction. Weaving in and out of parked cars is one of the things that the examiner will be looking from the student to be able to kind of do. If you do like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you believe that we can improve this video, please leave a comment below this video so that we can improve our videos for the future. Maybe you live around here. Maybe we have driven past your house. What do you reckon? So we're coming to quite a closed T-Junction. Quite a busy road in Ashford. We are turning left. Can you see how the car is slightly angled to the left there? Having a good old check everywhere, making sure it's all safe to come out of. When dealing with observations at junctions, you should be looking 2 to 3 times in each direction to have a thorough good check of the road before emerging. So this road has some double yellows on it. Now normally you will be out for your driving test for quite a while. During the pandemic, of course, they are taking you straight back to the test centre if you have a fail or serious. So depending on when you watch this video in the future, be expecting to be out for 40 minutes. What kind of speed is appropriate for speed bumps? Why is that? Why should you be at a certain speed? What speed do you travel over speed bumps at? I did once blow a tyre on a speed bump because the learner went over them too fast. So it's really important to make sure that you don't go over them too fast either. So why do you think this road has double yellows? Leave your answers in the video below this video. Again, when it comes to your driving test, it's all about the road ahead, planning your journey, responding to the road signs, being observant, being legal, understanding the speed limits, making progress, getting on with your journey, looking well, and keeping an eye out for any hazards that might come your way. If you do some private practice with mum and dad, then if you visit the link below this video, you can access some driving test routes that you can download to your sat nav at drivingtestroutes.com, which is an additional resource for you to help you kind of get to know the actual area itself. Lots of people have no plan of where to go, so you can use those to kind of just enhance your driving and get used to the sat nav as well. So on this particular junction, we're turning right. You can see how we've just kind of kept left of the centre white line. We haven't curved round to the left. Obviously turning right is a lot more difficult, more challenging than turning left on its own. So you need to make sure that you can judge the gaps in the traffic. You need to be mindful of the speed limit of the new road that you're coming into. Obviously, the higher the speed limit, the more gap or the bigger the gap you'll need. What tips do you have to help judge when to come out of the junctions? What have your instructor taught you? Please leave your comments below this video so that everyone can help spread learning across learner life on the road. So, what is the speed limit of this road, talking of which? Has quite a lot of right hand lanes, doesn't it, Ashford, where you have to move into the right hand lane to make space for the vehicles travelling ahead. So we're turning right on this roundabout, we're keeping tucked in, and we're aiming to get back to the left for the exit. So we have a bus stop on the left and again some separate lanes to move into. Now if you did turn right, please do use those additional lanes. The examiner will be marking you on road position as well as a margin of judgment of when to turn. That's called crossing the path of oncoming traffic, major to minor. So are we going to be able to get back in? Did we affect that blue car? So these are the things that the examiner is going to think about. So your whole mission is to get around the whole test route without being affected by anybody or affecting anybody. So they shouldn't have to brake or swerve at any stage. That was a little bit iffy, that blue car one. So that might like be a minor. It wasn't drastic, but they were on the approach. The learner probably should have just pulled in, give way, and then moved around the parked car. So it's judgment of meeting traffic, which is its own topic on the test sheet. So all these things do matter. again, you know, no driver is perfect and no experienced driver is perfect. So this particular bus lane on the left is 24 hours. As you can see, it's painted red. It's quite obvious along this road. It would be an instant fail if you use the left-hand lane on this particular road. So you need to make sure that you don't do that. And at the end of the bus lane, please do check your left wing mirror. I've actually just looked, recording this, I've just looked to my left in anticipation. You just never know. Okay, so make sure that that white line just goes out of view, just like that, so you're not over the white line. It's really, really important when you have a red light that you do not pass the solid white line at traffic lights or crossings. Very dangerous, and it is against the law. If you are caught, you may receive a fixed penalty notice. So we are driving along this road. We have a few things going on. Obviously, we have traffic lights and zigzags. Double yellows on this way. So what's the speed limit of this road? Please do let us know. And of course, if you are driving with mum and dad and you need a little bit of extra help, want some ideas of where to go, then head over to drivingtestroutes.com for some routes on your sat nav. We can download them or print them off. Either way, they will help you if you're having private practice. So as you can possibly imagine, we are now making our way back towards the test centre, where the learner is planning their journey very early by moving into the right hand lane, which is all good. We never want to do things late. We want to make sure that we do things nice and early. So hopefully you've enjoyed this video. Please do check out our other Ashford driving test routes. And if there's any improvements, do let us know. Leave a comment below this video. We are off. So it's been quite a nice drive, this particular route by our learner driver. So we have to thank our learner driver and the accompanying instructor. So as we turn into New Road, always make sure you check back to make sure no one's overtaking you or there's any kind of problems going on behind. What's the speed limit of this road? Make sure that cyclist on the left isn't about to merge out onto the crossing. Of course, when you've got a green light, you do need to proceed ahead. So we will be sure to leave all the links to our socials underneath this video, so you can access our podcast show, the Swan and Soto Show. You can check us out over on iTunes. On our podcast show, 2 driving instructors from the Midlands chatting about their life on the road with their learner drivers. We have lots of interviews, lots of stories, and kind of point you in the right direction for different kind of aspects. There's lots of different shows over there over the couple of years that we've been doing that now. So please go and check that out. And of course our learner blog and our intensive driving courses. So if you're looking to drive and want a course, then head over to lpodacademy.co.uk. Now hopefully you've enjoyed this route, and we'll see you in the next driving test centre video.